Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. I'm Micki, and this is Lily. Oh, wait, she's on this side. We're going to go ahead and get started. So, what I have for this class is quite a bit of props. So, I like to use a blanket, strap, blocks, and bolster. And then today I thought we could use a tennis ball, and I took two tennis balls and actually tied them into a sock. So I made this kind of device. These are not mandatory, and I would say get creative about the things you have in your house. Now, to get down onto my back, I like to use the blocks. And then you could also, I was thinking, I bought this fancy yoga stool, but you wouldn't have to have something like this. Even like a taller kind of stool can help you, and you can use it to brace yourself and then maybe lower your knees. And then we'll come to get ready to lie on our back. And then we can use the blanket for a little bit of a heart opener. So what I'm going to do with the blanket is take the blanket and roll it into a long roll. Essentially what you're doing here when you do this is you're making like a bolster, like almost like this big round bolster. You're almost making a smaller one. You could use a towel for this as well. This is today going to run along the length of my spine. So, and you can have the option to have your lower back on the blanket, or you might have it right on the floor. So what I'll do is bring my tailbone right to the end of the blanket, start to lie back. So my whole entire spine is draped onto the blanket. And if you want, you can bring your feet onto the mat and you could test out. Maybe you push yourself up to see about if you want your sacrum to rest on the blanket or not. For me, I feel like I would prefer it on the ground. So I'm going to just bring my tailbone right to the ground. And then you can open your arms out wide in a letter T, moving any supplies out of the way. And you could either tent your knees together so you'd walk your feet as wide as the mat, allow your knees to fall towards each other. Or some people like to use the blocks. What did I do with my blocks? To support the knees. So you could bring the soles of the feet together, open the knees out wide, and then bring the blocks maybe underneath the knees for a little support. I put mine on the medium setting at an angle so that the edge of the block is not on my leg. It's really that whole flat side is supporting my leg. And if this feels uncomfortable and you're not able to allow yourself to settle in, making any adjustments that you need, you could also just veto the blanket roll altogether and move it off to the side. If it feels good to open your arms out into a goalpost shape, you can, or you could rest your hands on your belly. Just allow yourself to arrive in this present moment and find stillness. You might close down the eyes or soften the gaze and feel the rise and fall of your breath. Start to acknowledge the body's intelligence. Noticing how the breath is breathing you. And then you might start to deepen the breath, elongate the breath. So allow your inhales to extend. Take a nice pause, filling yourself with breath, and then exhale slowly. Once you feel empty of your breath, take another gentle pause and then start to fill back up. Then bring your awareness into your heart center. Imagine a picturesque scene there, a little babbling brook, a gentle spring bubbling up with water. So often we are bringing our awareness to the messages from the outside world. At this time, you might bring your awareness into your heart space and just notice if there is a message from yourself to yourself here. Breathe into that space and just allow whatever message that is living there to emerge. This is your inner light of awareness. Today we have a theme for class, and it is the fourth yama. So we've been talking in this series about the yamas and the niyamas, and you might use this as an intention for your practice today if you'd like, or you can use whatever intention would speak to you. The fourth yama is called brahmacharya. And I would say this is one of my favorites because it feels like the one that I would like to work on the most. So I actually used brahmacharya, which means non-excess, for the holiday season, trying to rein in my spending. That worked out okay. So I have just a short reading from the book by Deborah Adele. She says, whether we find ourselves overdoing food, work, exercise, or sleep, excess is often a result of forgetting the sacredness of life. The fourth jewel, brahmacharya, literally means walking with God, and it invites us into an awareness of the sacredness of all of life. This guideline is a call to leave greed and excess behind and walk in this world with wonder and awe, practicing non-excess and attending to each moment as holy. So if those words speak to you, you're welcome to use brahmacharya, non-excess, as an intention for your practice today. What would that look like on the mat and off of the mat? Might mean that we don't go to our most extreme edge. We think about each shape that we explore as infinite. Our place within that can change from day to day and side to side. If you're ready to start inviting some movement into the body, go ahead and stretch your arms out into a letter T, moving aside any props that might be in your way. And then on the next inhale breath, we'll float the arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, cross the right arm over the top of the left. Maybe it would feel good to gently rock a tiny bit side to side. Just imagining you're tracing a little line with your elbows on the sky. Send yourself gratitude for carving out this special time and place, attending to your body, turning inward. And then we'll inhale, open the arms out wide to the side, and call to mind a loved one that you'd like to send a special blessing to. Go ahead and wrap, this time, the left arm over the top of the right, giving yourself and them a nice big hug. And we might even just notice that when we hug another, it's like hugging ourselves too. You might gently rock a little bit side to side, or find stillness here, finding the movement from your heart space, imagining radiating light from your heart out to that other person. On the next inhale, we'll open the arms out wide to the sides, and then just begin a little bit of snow angel wings. So you can float your arms down towards your hips and then slide them up past your ears. And then this time, once they're past your ears, we're going to exhale, float them over your body, rainbowing your fingertips over your body down towards your hips. Let's take a few more rounds like that. Inhale, float the arms, your angel wings out to the side, and then exhale, float them down towards the hips. If this is feeling uncomfortable with the blanket, you can always do this flat on your back. One more time in this direction. The next time your hands are down next to your hips, now we're going to switch up the direction. You'll inhale, rainbow the hands up towards the ears, and then exhale, slide them into your angel wings out to the sides, down towards the hips. Go ahead and take 3 more rounds like this, following the pace of your own breath, taking your time. Maybe non-excess means moving a little more slowly, mindfully, breathing into those areas of sensation. The next time your arms are up and overhead, pause there for a moment, reach your fingertips long, and then we'll float the hands up towards the sky. Press the palms up towards the sky. And then on your inhale, you can really reach your palms towards the sky, lifting your shoulder blades. And then on your exhale, allow your shoulder blades to come back down. Try that a few more times. Pressing up towards the sky, exhaling to lower, finding some mobility in your shoulder blades. And then whenever you're ready, you can release that. We'll bring the hands back down to your sides. Float your right shoulder up so that you can roll onto your right side. You can cradle your head on your bicep for a moment. Take a moment to pause there. And then we'll slide that blanket roll off to the side and you can roll back onto your back body. You might reach for your strap and use your strap to wrap around your shins, or you could just bring your hands onto your knees. The strap could help give you a little more space. So from here, we're going to take a few circles with the knees. So go ahead and find those knee circles, sending your breath down towards your low back, down towards your sacrum. Just finding a gentle massage here. And then we'll reverse the direction of those knee circles. Imagining your knees are tracing a circle on the ceiling. Breathing into the low back, the sacrum area. Tuning your awareness there, you might just ask yourself, ask your body, is there a message for you there? And it's okay if there's not. just checking in, saying hi, maybe sending gratitude. And then we'll release that movement. Just hug the knees in towards the chest for a moment. You can set the strap off to the side, and then we'll bring our arms out at diagonals. So not quite right next to the hips, not quite right out in a T, but sort of at what we would call 45 degrees, halfway in between our 90-degree angle, if that makes sense, right out here at the side, just to help brace you. Notice the effort that it might take right now, just hugging the knees in towards the chest, pressing the low back towards the mat. Take a nice deep breath, and then on your exhale, allow your knees to hover over to the left. Inhale, bring them back to center. Exhale, hover them over to the right. And then we'll continue like this, inhaling through center, exhaling, just a little hover. Remembering that we don't have to go very far. Using the strength of your core. Just a little bit more side to side. The next time your knees hover over to the right, I'm going to go ahead and land the knees on the mat. So we're going to come into a twist. You can flip your palms now, open the arms out into a letter T. And maybe you send your gaze over towards your left hand. I just got a little adjustment there. Take a nice deep breath, opening through the heart, opening through the chest. And then when you're ready, if you'd like, you can swing your right, or that's your left hand. You're going to rainbow it over your head and then bring it over to meet your right hand. And you can reach your left hand past your right hand. So you're all the way onto your right side. Then option to either drag it across the chest, or maybe you circle it back up and overhead. Landing in your twist, you might cactus your arm. Maybe you take a few more times, just tracing that big semicircle over your head, reaching past your right hand, and then dial it back up and over. Let's go ahead and take 2 more nice deep breaths like this. The next time you open back up into your twist, we're going to pause in the twist for a moment. Since you asked for a few strengthening exercises for our core, you can either relax here into your twist, or if you'd like to do a little bit of core strengthening on this side, you might interlace your hands behind your head. Maybe take a moment to allow your thumbs to gently massage the base of your neck. Ooh, yeah, like right there where your neck and your head meet, maybe right along your occipital ridge. And you could always stay here massaging your neck with your thumbs, or on your next exhale, we'll just lift the head using the strength of your side waist. Inhale to release, exhale to lift. Take your time, move at the pace of your own breath. And we mentioned, some of you were mentioning at the beginning of class, how the next day you felt that movement. So it's interesting to me because I did this in my class yesterday and I'm like feeling it in my side waist. Just ever so slightly, that nice little bit of reminder that there are some muscles there and they did some work. So take as many rounds of breath, moving at your own pace. And whenever you feel ready, you can release that, soften into your twist, open your arms out wide, and then turn your gaze to the left. This time we're going to float the left fingertips right up above the body, over the top, and then we'll roll onto our right side. And you can either use your head as a prop to bend your elbow, prop your head up on your hand, or rest your head on your bicep, or you could even use a pillow underneath your head and bring your arm out in front. It would be too far for my head to reach the floor, but sometimes a block could feel nice there. Since we're on our side body, let's go ahead and do a few clamshells to strengthen through our hips. So we'll glue the heels together, and then you can inhale to lift the left knee away from the right. Exhale to lower. Go ahead and take a few more rounds of breath on this side. And this is a movement that sometimes we were mentioning personal, or physical therapists recommend this one, especially if you're having any knee sensitivities and pain. Sometimes it can help, according to the physical trainers, personal trainers, physical therapists, that's the word I'm looking for, to strengthen our glutes. So we're just doing this clamshell. Allow that inner light of awareness, that bubbling brook, to send gratitude down into your hip joint. Then we'll try a reverse of that. So you can glue your knees together and we'll lift and lower the heel. Just noticing here how that sensation has changed for you in your body. Sending gratitude down into your hip. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we're going to take a twist that's going to help stretch also through the glute. So what you're going to do is dial your knees back. I'm just sliding so that you can see me better, so that your knees are now in a straight line with your body. You might like to bring the floor up to you. So we're going to be lifting the top knee, bring it down either to the ground, or you could use a pillow or block if you want to bring it up higher. And then from here, you can allow your left shoulder to melt back down towards the ground, and you might reach your left hand around, and there's your right foot behind you. You don't have to hold on. You could just melt into this position, but it can be nice to try and find that bind. And you could also even take a strap and lasso the foot if it was too far away. With the strap around the foot to give yourself more space. You can either rest your head on your bicep or on your hand and just allow yourself to come into this twist. This is called cat chasing its tail. I don't know the Sanskrit for it. Take a nice deep breath here. And then whenever you're ready, you can release the foot and we'll roll back onto our backs. Hug your knees in towards your chest. And let's find happy baby pose in between sides. So you can start to open your knees out wide to the side. You can either leave your hands hooked behind your knees, or you might start to walk your hands up onto your ankles, your calves, or your feet. And maybe start to rock just a little bit side to side, breathing into the hips. Notice any differences right now from left to right after those clamshells. Just tuning into where you notice the sensation. Maybe rock a little side to side into Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Now we can do a little bit here for the feet. If you want to grab hold of the ankles, give your ankles a little squeeze, and then you can start to feel your hands pull down on your ankles, and then go ahead and start to rotate the ankles, sending gratitude all the way to the feet. And take one more nice deep breath in your happy baby. And then we're going to go ahead and find those knee hovers. So I'm just going to turn sides so I can still see you. So as you come back into hugging your knees, we can release the knees, spread the arms out at your diagonal, hug your knees in towards your chest, pressing your low back towards the mat. And then from here, we're going to start our knee hovers. We're going to eventually land on the left. So let's start on the right. Hover the knees over to the right on your exhale. Inhale, bring them back to center. Exhale, slowly hover them to the left. Inhale them back to center, and as you hover them to the right, you might decide to kick your left leg long. You could also kick both legs long, but maybe you just start with that top leg. So as the knees come over and hover to the left on your exhale, you could kick your right leg long. Little karate kick. Go ahead and keep finding that movement from side to side. Follow the pace of your own breath, remembering that each one of these shapes is infinite. How can we practice non-excess? You might move slowly, mindfully. You might take breaks in between. And then when you're ready, we're going to hover the knees over to the left. This time we'll land them on the left. Flip the palms so they're facing up. And then you can start to turn your gaze over to the right. Allow your shoulders to melt down towards the ground. Feel held and supported here. Lying on your back, coming into a twist. On your next inhale breath, we're going to dial the arm up and overhead, tracing a circle over your head, a semicircle really, only half of the circle. And then we'll roll entirely onto the left side, and you can reach the right fingertips past the left hand. On your inhale, sweep your arm back up and overhead, coming into your twist. And you can follow the pace of your own breath. Maybe you take a few more rounds. If that dialing it up doesn't feel good, you could also lift it right over the body. That might be a less extreme stretch for your shoulder. Maybe play around with one direction, one way, and the other direction, the other way. By that, I mean either dialing it up above your head or lifting your arm directly over your body. The next time you land in your twist, we're going to find those oblique lifts. So you can interlace your hands behind your head once more, and maybe you take a moment to pause. Find a little gentle massage for the neck with your thumbs. You could always stay here Or on your next exhale, maybe you lift your head using the strength of your core right there on your side waist, your obliques. Inhale to soften your head back down to the ground. Exhale, lifting, using the side waist. Inhale to soften. Find a few more rounds following the pace of your own breath. Allowing yourself to move slowly, mindfully, with intention. Finding the balance of your effort versus your ease. Go ahead and find one more nice deep breath. One nice exhale. And then we'll inhale, relaxing into your twist. Open your arms out wide, soften all of your effort. Allow yourself to sink into the strength and support of the ground, letting everything go. And then we'll sweep the arm up and overhead, and you can land on your side body. We're going to come into those clamshells next. So maybe you position yourself so that your head is resting on your hand. You can bring your knees out in front, glue the heels together, and then we'll inhale, lift the knee, exhale, gently lower. Go ahead and find the pace of your own breath. And it could be different than mine, right? It's probably completely unique to you, your own time, your own way. Bring your awareness back into that still, calm center within your heart. Notice that picturesque spring. Allow those bubbles of gratitude to overflow from your heart center and circle down to your hip, thanking your hips for all they do, tuning your breath and your awareness in there. We'll take one more nice deep breath like this. You can soften your effort, and then we'll glue the knees together and start to inhale, lift the knee, exhale, lower. You could start to flex the toes towards the knee. You might not have to go to the extreme edge, because when I do that, I hear a little clicking in my hip, and that makes me wonder. It's curiosity. Maybe that's my hip saying, back off a little bit. Brahmacharya, non-excess. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we're going to turn this into our cat chasing its tail pose. So you're going to slide the knees back. They're in a straight line with the body. Lift that top knee. Allow it to find either the ground or some kind of support. So maybe a block under the knee. And then you can bring my right hand to my right shoulder. Allow your shoulder to sink back. And maybe you unfurl your hand and you could reach it around towards your bottom foot. And maybe you can hook your hand onto your foot. Or you could use that strap. Or you could skip that bind altogether. Allow yourself to soften. Maybe you allow your head to just gently rest on your shoulder. Send your breath into any areas of sensation in the body. Soften your brow, soften your jaw. And then if you're holding onto your foot, maybe you pick one toe And just give it a little squeeze with your fingertips. And then you can gently release the foot. We'll roll onto the back body and just make any adjustments that you need to find neutral. So maybe that's hugging the knees into the chest, rocking a little side to side, or planting the feet, and then stretching the spine long by pressing into the heels, coming up into bridge. Exhale to gently soften the spine back down. So we'll come into our bridge prep, and then we're going to come into an upside down tabletop. We did this one last week too. So this is an upside down bird dog. And the reason why we were talking about it being really nice, and I'm doing a little wrist and ankle rotation while I'm here, is that it can take the emphasis off the balance part. So when you do this on your back, maybe you can really feel your low back pressing towards the mat, engaging your core. So kind of drawing the belly button in the direction of your spine. And you can stay right here, or we can find that little bit of balance. Inhaling to reach the right arm overhead, reach the left leg long, allowing them to hover. Exhale, draw them back to center. Take a nice deep breath here. You can pause for a moment, and then on your next inhale, stretch your left arm, right leg long, and exhale, draw them into center. So you can take as many or as few of these as you like. Take breaks in between. You might land your feet. Give yourself a moment to soften. And then maybe you come back into your upside down table. And remember, you can always stay in table. You're doing the same kind of work here. You might inhale, stretch the right arm, left leg long. Exhale, bring it back to center. Take one more nice deep breath like this on each side. And then on your next inhale, you can land the feet, slide the legs long, and reach the arms overhead, finding that nice, deep, long body stretch. Maybe take a nice inhale and sigh out through the mouth. Letting go of any tension in the jaw. And we'll start to circle the wrists, circle the ankles. And from here, we are going to come up to our seats next. So you could either hug the knees into the chest, rock and roll up and down the length of your spine, or roll onto one side and press yourself up into a seat. From here, if you'd like to take a little bit of padding, you can either find your blanket and maybe fold it into a little seat, or maybe you find a pillow to sit upright. And then from here, I just have to find the time. I put my tea right in front of the clock. Take a comfortable seat. Just going to bring my blocks handy me as well. So you can take a comfortable seat, however that looks for you. You could have your legs crisscross applesauce, or if that's hard on the knees sometimes for people, they like to open their legs out wide. And remember, you can always sit on a couch or chair. I'm excited. I actually just got some new folding chairs for chair yoga. So come to a nice comfortable seat. Maybe take a moment to close your eyes. And just like an anchor, drop your awareness from your mind down into your heart center. Just training yourself to come back into that peaceful calm and just notice how it's always there for you. On your next exhale, allow your head to gently bow towards your heart. Just finding a little stretch through the upper back and the neck. And then as you inhale, allow your right ear to float over towards your right shoulder. On your next exhale, bring your head back down towards your heart. And then inhale, sweep your left ear towards your left shoulder. Let's practice brahmacharya here and try not to go to your extreme edge because we don't want to hurt the neck. We just want to find that gentle feeling of length along the side of the neck. So keep following your breath, moving a little bit side to side. See if you can gather up any tension living along the side of the neck and the shoulders. And as you exhale, allow it to release with your breath, just visualizing. You might notice if there's a message from yourself living there anywhere along the side of the neck and into the shoulders. And then the next time your right ear lands towards your right shoulder, think about lengthening your spine. And then you can start to gently shake your head no. Imagine you're softly, gently saying no. That's a thing about non-excess as well, right? Sometimes we have too much to do. So we have to practice saying no, setting our boundaries, having our limits. And then we'll come back to neutral and start to gently shake the head yes or nod the head yes. Once more, inviting in new opportunities, knowing what we really want to show up for and say yes to. It's also part of our boundaries. And then when you're ready, you can sweep the head down towards the heart. On your exhale, and we'll bring the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Find your no nods, allowing yourself to move with grace, intention, and certainty. Sometimes our no's come from a place of being pushed too far. Maybe we can know sooner, to say no with confidence, with certainty, with calm. And then we'll find our yes nods, gently nodding the head yes. Once more practicing saying yes. We'll take one more nice deep breath on this side. And then on your exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Inhale, roll your shoulders up towards your ears, and then we'll lift the gaze, roll the shoulders back and down. If it feels good, take a few shoulder rolls. Inhaling to reach the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, allow them to cascade down the back. Breathe into the shoulders and invite any tension to release from this area. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then we're going to take some rounds of cat and cow. Would you prefer to stay in a seat? You want to find your seat. You can always do your cat and cow and your spine rotations from your seat. So we could press on the knees, inhale to lift the heart, exhale to round the spine. So this would be your cat and cow from a seat. And then later on, you could do some circles from your seat. If you would prefer to come into hands and knees, remember you can use your blanket to pad your knees, and you could always use your blocks underneath your forearms if you didn't want to be directly on the wrists. So I think it's fun if you want to come to hands and knees. I like to roll over my shins. So I like to lean back and then roll with momentum over the shins and then move my knees or my heels back behind me. It just feels fun. If you want to pad underneath the knees, remember you can take a blanket and make a big rectangle for extra padding. And then sometimes when I want to give my wrists a break, you can either stay on forearms on the ground, or if you felt like your blocks were going to hold you and be stable enough, you could bring your forearms onto blocks. And then I have them on the medium setting here. Otherwise, we can plant our palms underneath the shoulders. You can either tuck the toes under or not. And then inhale to drop the belly for cow pose. Exhale to round into the spine for cat. Go ahead and take a few rounds of cat and cow, following the pace of your own breath. After a few rounds, maybe you want to find some other movements with your spine, like wagging your tail from side to side, finding a C curve in the spine. Or you could draw big circles with the belly button. Allow yourself to explore, taking your time, savoring any delightful sensations. If you're drawing a circle with the belly button, allow yourself to reverse the direction when you feel ready. You could always pause someplace where you notice sensation and tune your awareness there. And because Brahmacharya invites us to marvel at the design of our amazing body with awe and wonder, you might just marvel at what an amazing design. Your spine, your delicate rib cage, observing all the ways in which your spine can move, and finding gratitude for that movement. Take one more nice deep breath wherever you're at. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into child's pose. So a few different options for child's pose. You can bring the big toes to touch, open the knees out wide, sink the hips back, and then walk the hands out in front, maybe resting your head down on the ground. Or some people like to stack the palms or the forearms just to help bring the earth up to you. You could rest your head on your forearms. Or you could take a supported child's pose, maybe with a bolster. So sometimes it could feel nice to bring a bolster or a pillow or a blanket in between the knees just to bring the ground up to you. And maybe you would soften one cheek down to that support. Just allow yourself a moment to rest here. Feel the rise and fall of your back body. you're resting one cheek on the mat or on a prop, you might lift your head and turn to the opposite cheek. And as you feel the rise and fall of your back body, notice your body once more breathing you. Tune into your body's awareness and your body's natural intelligence. Your body's ability to heal itself. And we'll take one more nice deep breath in child's pose. And then when you're ready, you can press back up into tabletop. We are going to be moving onto our bellies next. And so I want to move my blanket off to the side, but you could still want it because we are going to be doing a forearm plank to help us get down to the ground. So if we come onto our forearms, you can start to walk your knees back. So right now on your knees, you're in a plank, you're in a forearm plank on your knees. So you might find a little bit of fire here, a little bit of sensation. And you can take some nice deep breaths here. You could play around with tucking your toes under and lifting one knee at a time. At any time, if you want to take a break, lower onto the belly. And then you're going to be in Sphinx pose. You might untuck your toes here. Now we could do a few rounds of pouncing Sphinx. This is what my teacher calls it, pouncing Sphinx. So I got that from you, Emily. Light, she's not here, but I'm sending that little tidbit out into the universe. So pouncing Sphinx, let's tuck the toes under. And then what you can do is you're in your Sphinx on your elbows. You can come up onto your knees. So you're lifting your belly off of the ground. Take a nice deep breath. You could stay here for a few rounds of breath. And anytime you want to break, soften back onto the belly. Take a nice deep breath. And maybe you play around with just peeling the belly off of the mat. Finding a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of shake. It's your body's intelligence once more, finding that strength. And then we can lower back onto the belly. At any time, let's just stay now in our Sphinx. So you can untuck your toes, stretch your legs back. Oops, I have my thing here in the way. Plant your elbows underneath your wrists, press into the earth, and then we'll inhale the heart forward as you gently drag the hands back. Take a nice deep breath, and then on your exhale, turn your gaze past your left shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn the gaze past the right shoulder. Inhale back to center, and then we'll stack the palms, lower your forehead all the way down to the back of your hands from across in a crocodile pose. Take a nice deep breath here. Once more, filling the back of the body. Imagine at the back of the body is your seat of self-care. What does it look like? It's your own creation. Maybe you imagine a protective turtle shell covering your whole back body. Send your breath there. Feel the rise and fall. And you might store this pose away for later. Notice how it makes you feel in your body. Maybe it is a pose that helps with anxiety. And sometimes people like to bend the knees and just sway the heels a little bit side to side here. Maybe that feels good for the quads or the belly or the low back. Find where it feels good to you. And then we'll lower the feet back down, slide the palms underneath the shoulders, and then without really pressing in, just lightly pressing in, you can peel your chest off of the mat. This is called Bhujangasana, cobra pose, or serpent pose. Take a nice deep breath here, and then on your exhale, you can lower your head back down to the mat. We'll tuck our toes under, press through the palms, come up to tabletop, and then we're going to come into downward facing dog. So I like to use blocks. I also wanted to show how you could use, maybe if you had like a step stool or a chair. I don't have my chairs ready yet, but oops, make sure it's something that would feel really sturdy. This is made for that. It's a feet up trainer, but it has, things on the bottom that help it grip so that it's not going to slide. So if you can find a really solid surface, you can place your hands on it, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back. And then this could be your downward facing dog. You could have your hands even on a chair, and my heels are all the way to the mat, finding length through the spine, allowing your head to hang heavy. And this is the version of downward dog, but it really is almost like a halfway lift. Take a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you can walk your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet. You might bring your hands to your shins or to a surface out in front. And then we'll inhale, press into your palms and lift up halfway. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift with a flat back. Keeping your gaze low, length through the back of your neck. Exhale to forward fold. And inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then we'll sweep the hands out, lift the torso, rise up to stand. And exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. Just trying to back up so you can see me. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, draw them to the heart center. And one more time, inhale, sweep the hands up and overhead. Exhale, draw them to the heart center. Now we're going to do our standing mountain pose, Tadasana. So you can allow your hands to rest at your sides. Take a moment to feel your feet on the ground and notice a little bit leaning back, leaning forward, side to side. See if you can lean in all directions and then find your center. From here, we're going to do a standing balance pose called Vrikshasana, tree pose. So you could always use the support of furniture too, if you wanted to help with balance. And then we have a lot of places we can stay along the way. So let's start by bringing the weight into the left leg, bending into the right knee, and just peel your right heel off of the mat. So you can see my heel is just a little bit lifted here. Maybe you can see it from the front. Then you could start to open your right knee, and then we'll pivot so that the heel of the right foot is just coming right to the ankle. I think that actually feels really good to rest the heel on the ankle. You could stay right here or bring your foot up to your calf, or some people jump their foot over their knee and put it on their thigh. I'm going to actually have my toes on the ground though, because that provides a nice anchor of support. Then you could invite your hands to meet at your heart center. Bloom your 3 middle fingers open. So what we've created here, it's called, if you have your pinky finger and your thumb touching, your 3 middle fingers are open. This is like a lotus flower. So we call it a lotus mudra, which is just a hand movement. Imagine you could bring your intention into the palm of your hands now. And on your next inhale, you can float that intention up and overhead out into the universe. Reach it out. And then we'll bring the hands down, step the foot out. Take a moment to shake it all off. Oh, that feels good. Allowing your arms to gently graze your side, finding a little massage for your spine. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to stillness. We're going to get ready to do the other side now. So you're going to peel your left heel off of the mat. And you could even stay right here for tree pose. And it actually feels really good to me. Just that little action of how does it feel to peel your heel off the mat? And you can open that left knee out if you like, maybe just bringing your heel onto your ankle, keeping your toes on the ground, or step your foot onto your calf. Or sometimes people reach down. I'm not going to do that one, but you just don't want the foot on the knee, because the knee does not want to bend in that direction from actually this direction from standing. From here, you can invite your hands to meet at your heart center. And to help with balance, you can create a dristi. So this is a soft focal point. Could be even at your hands, but usually it's on the floor, at the horizon, at a fixed location. Then we'll peel the 3 middle fingers open into our lotus flower mudra. Bring your intention to your awareness. Plant it in between your palms, and then you can grow it out from your heart up towards the sky for tree pose, vrikshasana. Maybe you even send your gaze upward. Take some nice deep breaths here. Allow your shoulders to melt away from your ears. And then when you're ready, you can float your hands down, step your feet out, and shake it all off. Allow your arms to graze your sides. Now we're going to be coming back onto our back bodies and get ready for our final resting pose, Shavasana. And also before that, a little bit of self-massage with the tennis balls if you like. So I'm going to show a few different options, but essentially I have one tennis ball that's loose, and then I have 2 that are in a sock. And I just took the sock and tied it. So I put 2 inside of a sock. So to come down onto your back, maybe you want to come through downward dog. And if I have my stool here or chair, like a folding chair could work, anything that would be really solid, you can put your hands on that or blocks, step it back to downward dog. And then maybe you lift onto the balls of your toes, bend your knees for a moment, allow them to hover over the earth. And then you can land both knees. We'll come down onto our seats next. And then if there's any props that you would like to have for when we're on our back, you might want to have your blocks handy. I have a bolster handy, a blanket handy, and then these little items. So I'm going to show you how I like to do a little bit of self-massage with the tennis balls. You can do this one at a time. So you're going to be coming to lie on your back. You can take the tennis ball in between your shoulder blade and your spine. So once I come to lie down, I'll bring the tennis ball in my right hand, reach it back so that it's in between my spine and my shoulder blade, and then come to lie on the back. Oh, yeah. So that would be with one. If you have two and you want to use that to massage both sides, I just, like I said, tied a knot here, and then I can bring the balls behind me, come to lean back, and then find that place in between so that they're basically alongside my spine, right in between the shoulder blades and the spine on either side. And you can either find movement or stillness. So you might gently rock your body, pressing into your feet, rocking your body up and down the length of your spine. And you could press into your heels, and maybe you travel so that the balls go down your spine a little lower. So that would be one option to explore with those tennis balls. And if that felt too intense, some people really dislike it. They find it too uncomfortable. So don't force it if it's not good for you. But there are softer balls out there, like high bounce ones. Then if you had a block, we could use the block to massage the base of the skull. So this is for those of you who don't have a ball and would want to use a block instead. I'm going to use the edge of the block to massage right up against the base of my skull. So I'm going to bring the block on the medium setting and then rest my head on the flat part. And the edge of the block is right at the base of my skull. And then just gently, gently, gently turn my head from side to side, tucking my chin towards the chest and just allowing for a gentle massage. So I like to leave a little bit of choice time before your final rest. You could do these self-massage options or find another shape or allow yourself to come to rest in Shavasana. Give yourself time for whatever would feel like it serves you best. Me personally love this block neck massage. Take some moments to be with yourself. Some deep breaths. And just allow yourself to give yourself the present of choice. Give yourself the time and space. For me personally, I could stay with this block all day. I don't know if that would be good though, practicing non-excess, right? Take your time, move at your own pace, remembering you are your very own best teacher. Trusting your inner wisdom, your inner knowing. Then whenever you feel ready, allow yourself to come into your final resting pose, corpse pose, Shavasana. Or if you prefer a seated meditation, you can always come to a cross-legged seat. You might bring a pillow or a rolled blanket underneath the knees, Or if it feels hard on the low back, it can be actually hard on the low back to lay flat on the ground without that support underneath the knees. Another option is to come back into that original shape we started class in, this time maybe flat on your back, allowing yourself to soften. Allow yourself to feel held and supported. Allow your eyelids to soften. Imagine them like delicate blankets. Allow them to close down over the eyes or soften your gaze. Allow the hinge of your jaw to soften. Allow your shoulders to rest heavy on the earth. Feel warm and safe, cradled and nurtured. Allow your thoughts to fade away. So often we combat our brain fog, but maybe we could just embrace it in this moment. Imagining a fog softening over your brain, allowing it to rest. I'm going to bring us back to our intention and the theme of brahmacharya. Allow yourself to let these words fall down like little drops of rain. No need to think too hard about them. Just allow them to fall where they may. We are here in this world in part to feel enjoyment and pleasure. If we are in the pleasure and not addiction, we are practicing brahmacharya. Non-excess is not about not enjoyment. It's actually about enjoyment and pleasure in its fullest experience. Practicing non-excess preserves and honors this life force within us so that we can live with clarity and sacredness. If we stop and pause for a moment, we know that it is the simple things that stir our soul and bless us with happiness. The wind in the trees, the colors of the sky, the touch of a loved one, the delight of a child, a shared moment with a friend can bring us to overflowing. This overflowing is expansive and humbling, much different than the satiation of excess. When gratitude and wonder sit in the heart, there is no need for excess. Seeing everything as holy brings a continuity to life. It grounds us in centeredness. whereas excess overdoes us, overextends us, takes away from ourselves. Seeing everything as sacred firmly roots us and balances us. Allow that gratitude and wonder to sit at your heart, bringing yourself back into your picturesque center of calm, noticing there your inner light of awareness. As that light begins to shine brighter, follow the rays out past stars, out into the universe. And take a moment to practice awe and wonder there. And allow your awareness to float softly, gently, just like a feather. Allow it to float back into your body. You can deepen your breath. Start to bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes. Start to rotate the wrists and the ankles. And when you feel ready, you can take a long body stretch, reaching your arms past your ears. And maybe you roll onto one side, finding a fetal position there, resting your head on your bicep or your upper arm. And then whenever you feel ready, you can roll onto one side, finding a fetal position. Allow yourself to rest for a moment here. And then when you feel ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. You might inhale once you arrive, sweep your arms out wide, inviting all the goodness into your heart center. You can bring your hands to meet at your heart, pressing palm to palm and thumb towards sternum. Take a nice deep breath here, and we can end our practice together chanting one round of Om and then singing Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And of course, you're welcome to listen or join in. We'll take a nice deep breath together and then take a nice deep exhale. Now we'll inhale for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can bow your head towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and privilege to guide you through your practice. Thank you all so much for being here with me and sharing your practice with me. Namaste. And let me know if you have any thoughts or questions about class. I'm just going to end the recording first.